So we will get into our movie spotlights for Black History horror films. The first one we will discuss will be one of my personal favorites, which is The People Under the Stairs. This movie it had a lot of social connotations to the movie, as well as giving us that horror factor. And what was fascinating was this movie, the hero was a little black boy.
Yes, and his name.
That they called him Fool. Fool came from a family that did not have very much money. They lived in the hood, and their housing area was basically kind of owned by like slumlords. So he kind of tagged along with this older guy who decided that they were going to rob these people. But joke was on them. They robbed the wrong people. Not the wrong people as in these weren't the slumlords, but
these were crazy.
Crazy.
Like, if I'm not mistaken, they were siblings, correct?
Yes. I think so, they were siblings, but they were pretending to be married. And the daughter that they had, they kidnapped her.
Yeah.
That wasn't even their child. And the thing was, she wasn't the first. They had kidnapped many kids throughout the years. And when they felt that the children weren't obedient like they wanted them to be, if they felt like the kids were bad, if they felt like they weren't doing what they were told, they would punish them by putting them in the basement or like in the walls of the house, like under the stairs in the basement. And they left them there for like so long. They were malnutrition. They were like disease stricken. They basically looked like zombies living down there. They were like living zombies because they weren't getting any sunlight. They were literally just trapped down in this dark basement, and they weren't really giving much nutrition to eat. Oh yeah, and they would like mutilate some of them.
Yeah, I was about to ask you about that, K-Blah. Like, I thought on some of them they punished them by the sins they assume, they would say they committed, like talking back to their mother or father, or looking at things they didn't have any business.
Exactly. So, like one of the kids who lived in the wall, his name was Roach.
Yeah.
And he was one of the people under the stairs who was trying to help Fool when he broke into the house and couldn't get back out because the people who lived there, the man and the woman, they only thought it was a black man at first that came in to rob them. They didn't know at first that it was a little black boy there too. So he was kind of ducking and dodging. He was hiding out with the supposed daughter and Roach. Roach was very helpful. He was very nice. He wanted Fool to get out. He even wanted the girl to get out, but he really couldn't talk. Why he couldn't talk? They cut out his tongue. I think he called for help, and they cut his tongue out as a speak no evil thing, you could say. So yeah, these people were really wacky, and they were very racist. Very, very racist. They were, overcharging people in the hood. They were just doing all kind of socioeconomic discrimination in this neighborhood and just hoarding all this money. And not only were they like racist, they were kidnapping people's children, holding people's children hostage. So they weren't very, nice people. And like I said, they were crazy. They had all these hidden rooms in the house and all these kind of weapons and these just strange punishments. And when they found out that Fool house, that's when they tried to get him too. And they also kind of like punished the daughter too, because they figured that she was helping him. And at one point in the movie, he did get out, but he went back in because he wanted to save her, because he knew that that girl was a victim too. He knew that those weren't her parents. So he did eventually go back and save her. And all the other little people under the stairs that lived in the house that looked very, very creepy. So it really, by the look of it, it's like, were you scared of these people under the stairs, or were you scared for these crazy people that are like trying to kill Fool?
In the beginning, you didn't know who to be scared of.
Exactly. You just didn't really know, because it was just like really one of those things. It's like, who am I scared of in this? Am I scared of these boys because they look weird? Or am I scared of this couple because they're so crazy? It was just a lot going on. But I love that the little boy was the hero of the story. And he lived. And the thing is, he even tried to do something to help out his family. Like, he wasn't just robbing them to be robbing them. His mom was sick, and, they were struggling paying their bills, and these people were just like taking money from their neighborhood. And so he did not only go back and rescue the girl, he went and like took the money that the guy had hidden somewhere. Like, one of the little boys from under the stairs that got into
so much money.
Yes, told him where like the treasure was. So he not only went in there to get the treasure, he got the little girl out too. So that's why I really like that movie, because it had a lot of themes and elements in it. Another great horror movie, like we said before, that guy whose name we can't say.
The one with the hood.
Tony Todd.
So this one was one of my favorites. And I'm not gonna lie to y'all, I was so young when this came out. This is probably the first black man monster in a movie that had me shook. Like, I don't remember anyone before him. Blackula wasn't really scary. And so I think that's my vampire love coming through. But this had me shook. Pretty much the basis of this movie is a young lady is trying to do a thesis about urban legends, and she hears about he who shall not be named, like we in Harry Potter. Last time I'm gonna say this, Candyman. And they're in the city of Chicago. That was 3. We good. We got 3. You got 5. They were in the city of Chicago, and legend has it that this guy was a famous painter in the 1800s, black man, son of a slave, fell in love with a white woman. And long story short, her father set out to have him lynched. So the hook on his hand is because the mob cut his hand off, the hand that he used to paint. So that was the number one form of punishment for him. And then they covered him in honey that was stolen, and he was pretty much stung to death by bees. So throughout the movie, every time he appears, you see these bees, you see this hook on his hand, and he has come back from the dead pretty much because he was summoned by this young lady. And his thing was, well, I'm going to prove to you guys that I'm not an urban legend, and the cost is going to be some bloodshed. Mm-hmm. The great thing about this movie, as far as Black history goes, it had a lot of social undertones. It highlighted a lot of stereotypes, and it actually was some controversy behind the movie itself. It was filmed in Chicago, like I said, in the Cabrini Green projects. These projects actually were legitimate projects in Chicago at the time, and they were like high crime, very feared. People really didn't go over there. And so in order to film this movie there and to get permission to film it there, he had to agree to allow some of the residents to be in the film as extras. So essentially,
wow, I didn't know that.
It was a horror movie that kind of created jobs for Black people, because that's all who was living in these projects in Chicago. And also, there was a lot of controversy behind it as far as the narrative of the movie itself, the stereotypes and things like that. And the producers actually met with the NAACP prior to releasing this movie to kind of sit down and have a talk and see if this was going to be something that they could do that wasn't going to cause some backlash for the Black community. So there's a lot of underlying history with this movie, but essentially scared the mess out of me. Tony Todd.
I can't watch those movies again. I can only watch it when they talk about it in documentaries. I can't go back and watch it.
Right.
Movies scare me. Like the movies that usually scare people, I'm good. I cannot watch that guy.
And you got to think, like, how old were we in 92 when this came out? Like, not old
I
enough to
mean,
watch horror movies, like 6, 7. We weren't old enough.
exactly. But y'all know we had family members, siblings, cousins that would lock you in the bathroom and cut the light off and say it in the mirror. You know, y'all had it happen.
This is
I
true.
wasn't even scared of Bloody Mary no more.
You
Exactly.
couldn't be.
He scared me more than she did.
Yeah.
It's a dude out here looking like me who I initially would have trusted coming out of my bathroom mirror. That was too much for me.
I'm good on that.
I'm telling you.
Mitra,
Yes, ma'am.
Astral. Let's get into another one.
Okay.
One of our fan favorites.
One of my favorites, I have so many of them because I just love horror, but Tales from the Hood.
Right.
Yes. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the dude that played the mortician at the funeral home, and also he was the devil, was Clarence Williams. What I liked about the movie, I didn't understand it as a child, but the older I got and I was able to go back and watch it, was
right. You got a
how
lot
they
of
had
those socioeconomic themes that they were themes that they had. It took me to watch it as an adult to really, really take it in.
Yeah, I think as a kid, what scared me was just more of the imagery, like looking at the stories being told visually. One of the ones that stuck out to me was the monster, the little boy talking about the boogeyman coming
Yes.
in and just abusing him, and he was trying to explain that he could not get rid of him, and long story short, come to find out, it was just the mom's boyfriend beating on him at night. And so he was able to basically, I look at it as binding. Like he drew a picture of him and crunched him up, and he was able to destroy him. And now as an adult, and I'm not trying to go too deep, but I'm gonna take it there. I feel as though he wasn't just abused as in like getting beaten on. I think he was like molested and raped, because it took for him to write down what the monster looked like for him to get over and like actually conquer the monster.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you go through therapy, that's some things they'll ask for you to do. You know, if you have had some abuse in the past, to write a letter or to draw something out, and then sometimes you tear it up or either you read it out loud. And that's what I kind of got from that.
Oh yeah, I like the one too about with the little dolls.
Yeah,
Dolls were creepy looking,
like slaves.
Yeah, and then they popped out like a picture on the wall.
Yeah, from the picture
with the mother's quilt.
Yes, that's what it was. The quilt.
I thought those little things were, because it kind of gave me a little puppet master feel.
Right.
But they look like us.
Yes.
Them little jagged teeth was too much for me.
Right. Yeah. They were a little creepy though. But I enjoyed that they gave us that an anthology of stories, and I just wish that they would have just kept it going and made more of those.
They did actually.
We're fans of they made a
second one
too, but it took like years to do it, because like I kind of saw Tales from the Hood being like a black version of Tales from the Crypt, so I just wish that there were more episodes or more little mini-series stories and whatnot within it. And speaking of mini-series and anthology, one of the up-and-coming Masters of Horror, Jordan Peele, is going to be the new host of what is probably like the third comeback of the Twilight Zone.
Yes. So excited.
And I will be watching, as I have all the others.
Most definitely.
All right, you talking about Mr. Jordan Peele. I want to piggyback off of that and talk about Get Out. That dug into my brain seriously and had me thinking of all kinds of things when I watched that movie.
It was genius.
Yes, it was. Like, one thing that came across was like William Lynch theory on how to make a slave. And I say that because basically he was groomed, like, you know, to get himself feeling good about going to meet her folks. And when he gets there, they treat him all nice and sweet, and they just getting ready to sell him off.
Yeah.
Not even. And then you have your own kind that's there, that's playing the role because they want to be able to be accepted into this certain type of society. And here they go telling on their own kind so they can keep it for themselves. If that ain't how to make a slave all the way over in the modern way.
And see, and that's kind of how they wanted it. They kind of had, you know, those little Black people around to make it seem like, you know, that we like Black people, but the Black people who were around were programmed.
Yep.
Weren't free thinkers.
They were still alive.
Get around these people, this is what we're trying to mold him into.
Yeah. I want to know though, what do you think the Flash meant? You know, that was what got them out of that state. What did the Flash like represent?
It was a reverse of the games and the hypnosis they were under and whatever kinds of psychological programming. It's like that was their button to say that there's a way out. that you know, for everything that starts, you have to have an off switch for things. You cut something, there's always a way to shut it off. That was the way to shut it off. And I'm not even sure that they knew that though, until that very moment that it happened. Like, oh, there's a crack in the system.
I don't think that the Black people knew. I think that the creators knew, because like in the hypnosis as a whole, that is one of the things if I'm not mistaken, commonly able to snap people out of hypnosis in the world today with the whole practice and how people used to do it back in the Gap was a flash of light. So I think that was kind of like a reach back to hypnosis as a whole. Like, this is what can break that hypnosis, because essentially that's all it was. We hypnotized you, we programmed you, and we're gonna make sure we don't take no pictures so you can't wake up.
I know this isn't horror, but it's like an example of what's going on right now with Monique and Steve Harvey. Have y'all seen that?
Like, that interview was hard.
They're trying to make it, well, some people making it seem as though Steve Harvey's a sellout, and then some people are looking at Monique as being like a crybaby. It's just, it's kind of like, I see both ends, but at the same time, you got one person that's really playing in the game. And then you have the other individual who is like, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to put up with that. I'm going to stand for something. You know, I'm not going to allow that to go on just because I want to, you know, keep my, how can I say it? Keep my money flowing a certain way.
Right.
Right. So I can see.
It's like, I think they both had valid points in their debate. Is like, hey, she might have gotten the wrong people upset, but there's a way that you go about it to get things back together. I just wish that we had a better team backing her that would have done that for her. And it's like, you have to play into these things because, I mean, you think about the elements from, you know, they were basically having like a whole slave auction thing going on.
Yes.
You know? And it's like, that's how it kind of feels like in Hollywood. It's like, you know, which people are we going to, you know, buy from this and then make them and mold them into what we want them to be. So it's just like these things that keep rolling over in our society over and over and over again. And the great thing about Black horror is that we like to scare people and we like to throw social connotation into it. You know? It's like we want to Because we always have to tell a little bit of our story and everything.
Gotta put the truth out there. I think like what you were saying with them auctioning them off, I think it was also a nod to like the current Black market where people are discussing that somewhere African American people are being kidnapped, we're going missing, and the storyline is pretty much they're auctioning off our organs, our bodies, because we
And
are a
this is very true.
a strong set.
And in Georgia, a few years ago, remember that story that came out in the news where they found that
Kendrick
rolled up.
I think that was his name in Valdosta.
Yeah, rolled up in the mat with his organs missing. It's like that's when it like really hit home. Like, wow, they are really like, you know, with crimes against African Americans and taking their organs. Like, it's really that crazy. But the way Jordan Peele put it, it's like he wanted to get this message out. But sometimes they say the best way to get out a message that's bizarre is to fictionalize it.
Yes.
Right. Because they gonna watch it.
Because if you're wise enough and you
really real truth,
you're gonna see it. You're gonna see it. If not, then oh well, it went over your head. With Jordan Peele, another thing that's coming out this summer, I'm really excited for is Us.
Yes.
Have you seen that trailer?
I'm excited.
You haven't?
No, I said, have you?
Yeah. I've watched it multiple times. I've even downloaded.
This is how much she's watched the trailer. She done got the song I Got 5 on it on her phone.
Yes.
So, the trailer came out. That song went ham on the charts after how many years?
Right. It's the way he broke it down. Like, I love that song anyway, especially when we played it in the band at SSU, y'all. But the way he slowed it down, and when you hear him say, I got 5 on it, it's like it creep you out. You want to look over your shoulder like, who is it? And what you got 5 on? Like
we didn't even know like slowing down that beat would fit into the horror realm, you know?
Right.
I don't even look at the song differently.
And then he even picked a song that we would be like, oh yeah, that's tight, man. You know, he picked something that he knows that's part of our culture. Like, oh,
and that's gonna get our attention.
Yeah.
Right.
The one thing I liked about Us when I viewed the trailer, and I'm already, you know me, I like to dig and overanalyze and look at the whole, you know, psychological side of it. I was already talking to my husband, like, do you think he's trying to depict how, you know, we can be our own worst enemies?
I think so. And
that's definitely what I went for.
Interesting.
Yeah, because to have them trying to, whatever it is about to kill them, and it looks exactly like them, that's what I got from it. So I'm excited.
It kind of made me think of the movie Black Swan a little bit. Like,
yes,
psychological thriller. Like she was her own worst enemy
the entire time.
Right. So I wonder if it's going to be a little bit like that, or I don't know, because he kind of threw us for a loop with Get Out. So I just can't wait to see what it really is going to be, because I know it's going to just have our minds blown all over again. And then once again, he's really good at casting. So, you know, he did really good with the people he placed in that first movie, and the second movie, he's doing it again by giving us these people who we know they're going to give us a good performance.
Right.
Which is going to make us like the story even more. And it would be nice to see Lupita in this role, because she's
different,
very versatile in things that she's tackling. And shout her out also because it's Women in Horror Month. I want to toss in some Black female leads in horror movies, because guess what? All of us don't die all the time. Most of the time we do. Most of the time we do, but we survive sometimes. One of my favorites that I used to watch all the time was I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. A lot of people sometimes after they've seen it, they feel like, oh, that's movies, whatever. When I Still Know came out, I was watching it all the time.
You were a true fan.
I was. I actually loved Brandy and Mekhi Phifer in the movie. But see, I watched the original, so I really liked I Still Know. I mean, I liked I Know What You Did Last Summer. So just to bring in these other people for I Still Know and expand on the story was great. And the thing was, they let, we got one black person die. Now, Mekhi Phifer, he didn't make it. But spoiler alert, but Brandy in the movie, her character did. And she actually had a strong role in the movie. She lasted the whole movie. She was a supportive best friend. She was there. She wasn't so much of a damsel in distress. Like, she saved herself. Like, she got herself out of that situation. Of course, to survive, she would have to have those fighter skills in her. And that's what I really like, because at that point in time, Brandy was really hot. She had Moesha going. Her songs were on the charts. And for her to be tossed in this horror movie role to kind of bring more of us into this genre, I thought was a really smart idea. And I really liked the elements in that movie for it. And it was kind of a teen slasher movie, but it was a fun horror movie, especially if you've seen the first one. I feel like the first one was a lot more serious.
A lot of suspense.
Yeah, a lot more suspense. Yeah. And then when the second one came out, I think people embraced that one a bit more, because it was a little bit more less heavy than the first one. Yeah. What else? We got one of my favorites, Jada Pinkett in Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. I really love that one.
That's one that nobody talks about.
People don't talk about that movie. I don't know why. I really like that one, though. Of course, anything that got tails in the beginning of it, I'm obviously going to be in for it. But she really did step in. She was the last one standing, I guess you could say. Yeah. Everybody in that, was it like a hotel or something, or restaurant? Everybody was getting picked off by this demon one by one by one. And the demon hunter, nobody wanted to listen to him in the beginning, because it was like this southern town. They were in this little small area where they didn't really think about outsiders like that. Yeah. So he was trying to tell them, like, this is what's happening. They was like looking at him sideways. So I really like that she held her own and kind of came out on top with that one. Because I think everybody else got pretty much taken out except for her. Literally the last man standing in that movie. And I really wish people would talk about that one a lot more versus her role in, what was that? Scream.
Oh.
Yes.
Scream got so diluted after a while. I thought, they just got to be the same thing.
Yes, Scream. And she died, in the first...
In the beginning. Like everybody.
First few minutes, she was out of there. Yeah, they killed off 2 of us in the beginning of that one. And I think Elise Neal was also in Scream 2, but I don't think she made it till the very end either. I don't think she made it.
I gotta go back and rewatch that. I don't even remember her.
Mm-hmm. She had Sydney had a black friend that when they were in college, but she lived for a good minute, but she didn't make it either. So they literally did kill all the black people off in Scream. But Jada Pinkett, the Crypt Demon Knight, though, which I guess led to more of us hopping into horror lead roles in our, late and beloved Aaliyah and her last role in the vampire movie, which
Queen of the Damned.
Yes.
Queen of the Damned was great.
Really interesting vampire story.
Again, this is one of my loves because I am a vampire fanatic. Put that out there again, vampire fanatic. If you ask me about Twilight, I'm team vampire. Don't ask again. But
I will talk about that one later.
In Queen of the Damned, I enjoyed her role because she wasn't the victim in this role. Well, she kind of was, but it was a different view for her to be the queen of vampires. She had this old history. She was powerful. That costume was everything. And
it was very like royal and
very regal.
Elaborate. It's like, you know, that she wasn't one to play with.
And it kind of touched on our like history as African Americans to me, because we were kings and queens back in the day. So that was refreshing for me to see her as the queen, even though it was vampires. Because before that, you had Interview with a Vampire. I don't even remember us in there.
Right, even though it was a good movie, I really did like that movie, but we weren't in there.
But she was great in this movie. I hate that her career was so short-lived, but her life was short-lived. I just think that seeing her in that powerful role in that movie was a good look for those coming after her, because now you see that we don't have to be the victims. We don't have to get killed off. We can be the major character and draw that crowd and draw the following just the same as anybody else.
And that's what I really liked about it. And it wasn't your typical vampire story.
Definitely not. Definitely not.
And I really wish, because I feel like if she was still alive, that we would have, yeah.
I needed a replay.
I really feel like that, you know, she would have done more, if not in vampire roles, then more horror.
In general. Yeah.
Like, so she was open to do that. I really feel like she would have been able to branch out and do more roles. Like, she was supposed to be in the Matrix sequels.
Oh yeah. I remember hearing that. And she
like,
what's that movie with DMX she was in? Oh my gosh, my best friend would kill me right now. I cannot remember that movie, but she played an action role with DMX. And I do not remember the name of that movie, but she was good in that movie.
I love kung fu movies. Romeo Must Die.
Yes. There you go.
Yeah, so she was
about to try again. That's it.
In a lot of different type of roles, which is like what I want to see us doing more of. Shout out Sanaa Lathan for Alien versus Predator. That's another one we don't talk about much, but she was a survivor in that movie. And that movie was a big one because they took the two major franchises from the past and put them in one movie. And then it was a Black lady who was like one of the lead characters of the movie. And I love how they threw in the old school feel and the typical traits of what you would get in Alien and what you would get in Predator, and put those movies together. Because I think that came after like Freddy versus Jason, didn't it?
Oh yeah, way after.
Yeah. So it was just like another old school mashup. Have we had one since then?
Not really, no.
I don't think so.
Whole bunch of Jasons. You know who I feel like undercover? Nobody talks about this, but somewhere deep down, I think this man was Black too. The Hellraiser.
Creepy.
He just was too real. I think he was Black. I think he was. Don't quote me on that though, but that's just how I feel about that. And the Predator. The Predator got dreads. He Black.
He did. You know, I think I rooted for him in AVP. I think that we should have some more of those movies. The Freddy versus Jason and Alien versus Predator. I feel like we should do, because back in the day they used to do like what, Godzilla versus
Mothra and everybody.
I mean, why can't we throw Chucky and Michael Myers in a movie together, you know?
Girl, because Michael Myers, I'm talking of Chucky, you know, he's slick with the mouth.
But see, that was the dynamics in Freddy versus Jason. You had
True, because Freddy Krueger was slick with it.
and then Jason, like the silent, creepy guy. So I personally think that Chucky and Michael Myers could roll together in a movie. I don't know how we're gonna get that to happen, but I think we can make that that movie mashup happen. Another one, 13 Ghosts, Rod Digger.
I really like 13 Ghosts, but she did work my nerves in that movie. She hollered so much in that movie.
But she was the only one who was like knew this was like not a good situation to be in. Like she was trying to tell these people this is weird. We don't need to be doing all of this. And she made it to the end. She loved. And we got to point her out for that too. Like some of us do make it to the end of some of these movies. We don't always, get killed off. We do most of the time.
Right. But, LL Cool J in Deep Blue Sea. That's kind of horror-y.
LL Cool J has survived a few times. He lived in Halloween too.
Oh, I forgot he was in that.
I don't know how he's made it. A few of the Freddy movies, it might have been part 4 where the black girl lived. Because I know that part 3, I think Freddy got her. He killed one of them then, but I want to say in Nightmare on Elm Street 4, the black girl might have lived. I might have to rewatch that one. Because the main Freddy movie I watch is like Dream Street.
You got your favorite. That's the one.
That one's my favorite. I watch that one all the time. But I know it had to be 4, maybe 4. Because there was another black girl in 5, which is like Dream Child. I can't remember if she lived or not. I think Freddy killed her, but I can't remember about the one in the 4th movie. But we've thrown some, and Kelly Rowland didn't survive in Freddy versus Jason.
I didn't think she would though.
She lasted about her acting. She did last a little bit longer than I thought she would, but it's great to see these black scream queens. Oh, and we have a new one on the rise. Octavia.
Oh,
Spencer.
my.
Yes. I'm really excited.
That just dropped this week, and I'm skeptical because it's like, is she a psycho? Is she getting back at these people from her high school?
I don't know.
It looks crazy.
It does look crazy. I don't know, but I want to see. I want to see it.
Somebody can tell their kids don't talk to strangers.
Yeah, but you see what people do for free alcoholic beverages or a free place to party,
right?
End up in these weird situations, fooling with strangers and weird people. But I really, because she's such a good actress, it's going to be real interesting to see her in this, show her range more.
Right. Because I don't think she's been in anything similar.
This is going to be really interesting. But she's such a great actress. So whether the movie is good or not, I feel like she's going to kill her role.
Yeah. Oh, so yeah.
I'm going to be watching just to see her.
She'll probably make the movie. If it's not a good movie, you're going to watch it because she was in it.
Yeah. I feel like she's going to make the movie. Before we get out of here, our drink was really good. I hope you guys made it. Mine's is just, I got ice melted now because this.
See that mint floating in there? That's flavor, y'all.
Yes, it's just the flavors in there. I'm gonna add some to I didn't think this was gonna be this good, Desiree.
Why are you doubting me? Super drink is real. We drinking, and it's gonna taste good.
You surprise us every time we do this. You surprise us. Every time I'm like, she come through every time because I'm like, how do these things go together? And she always.
It takes me some time to think about, but this one I was really excited about. Shout out again for those of you who missed the drink. This cognac, Noir King, first cognac by African-American woman. It is distributed here in Atlanta. You can pull up the website to see what liquor stores to find it at. It is amazing. It is really good. and it is a tribute to us, the Harlem Renaissance. And her slogan says something about starting the new Renaissance. So check this out if you haven't already.
Yes, please. Follow all of us on social media, The Fifth Wall and The Fifth Column on Facebook and Instagram, Temper Drinks on Facebook and Instagram. Our next topic will be remakes. We have a couple of good horror remakes coming out real soon. So we're kind of going to talk about horror movie remakes, the original versus the new version, and how we feel about those movies. Just stay with us with those. This is going to be really interesting. We got some good movies coming out this year, you guys. So, of course, we're going to have some good talks here on Horror and Hooch. If you miss us here on Facebook Live, you can always catch this recording on our Horror and Hooch podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Anchor, and a couple of others. We're also going to repost this video. It's on our YouTube page, all that good stuff. I hope you guys enjoyed celebrating Black History Month with these Black horror films and Women in Horror Month with these Black female horror leads. We had fun with this. I'm going to make me another drink.
I'm gonna finish this one, and I think I'm gonna tap out for the night.
I think I can handle one more. I say that now. But thank you guys for joining us on Horror and Hooch. It is fun as usual. And I hope everyone had a good Valentine's Day yesterday. Some people are still celebrating through the weekend. So happy Valentine's Day as well, everybody.
Good night.